As we're coming into India today, I was incredibly emotional because this is really where the journey of COMPLEXion started.
Hello, fair and handsome. Fair and lovely? How many do you sell in one?
I remember I was standing in a very similar area, just like where we are right now, and there was a mother who bought her daughter a packet of Fair and Lovely. She gave it to her and said in Telugu, "So you don't have the life that I have." I was told several times by my family and aunts and uncles around me that I was too dark, that I would be so much more beautiful if I was lighter skinned.
Ladies and gentlemen, your new Miss America is
Nina Davaluri.
Skin whitening creams are a beauty product sold in many countries around the world. There are many well-known health risks to using these skin lightening products that sometimes contain toxic ingredients such as hydroquinone and mercury. And yet, they are commonly used around the world. The global market for skin whitening creams in 2022 was $8.8 billion, and it's projected to reach $11.8 billion by 2026. I have to ask, what is beauty really costing us? My name is Nina Davaluri, and in 2014, I won the title of Miss America. I was the first South Asian and Indian American to win the title. The next morning when I woke up, the Times of India front page headline read, "Is Miss America too dark to be Miss India?" For me, to really have this conversation about why the skin whitening industry perpetuates this stereotype that you have to be fair in order to succeed is something that has been around for generations.
And I have to ask why. Why are we teaching our young girls this? Why is this the beauty standard? Why do they feel that from the age of 7 that they have to use these products?
In order to answer this question of why, I knew that class was going to be a huge part of this conversation. So when we started filming, I knew I wanted to speak with groups of people with varying socioeconomic statuses and backgrounds all across India. The first place we filmed was in Kolkata, and this was at an all-girls orphanage. These are their stories.
It's so nice to meet all of you. Can I have a tour? You want to go inside?
Yes.
Inside? Yeah? Can I come inside? Thank you. The reason why I wanted to talk to all of you is because I grew up in Vijayawada, and I was told that I was too dark, that I'm not beautiful, that I wouldn't be able to even become Miss America because of my skin color. And I wanted to know if that is something that in some way, shape, and form that any of you have experienced, and if so, why? Or who did someone make you feel that way? I mean, I've been on that other side. I have been that girl who felt that I wasn't beautiful because I was too dark. I have had those things said to me by my family, by some of my closest family members. I believe that I wasn't beautiful because I was too dark.
আমার বান্ধবী বলেছে যে তুই একটু কালো আছিস মানে তোর সাথে আমার কথা বলতে অতটাও ভালো লাগে না, তুই কেমন দেখতে এসব বলেছে। তাই
কেউ বলেনি, কিন্তু যখন রাস্তায় বেরো তখন কেউ তাকায় না, বান্ধবীরা কথা বলে না, কেউ কালো বলে। কারণ সবাইকে দেখেছি সবাই খুব ফর্সা আমার থেকেও, আমি তো কালো কিন্তু সবাই খুব ফর্সা ওরা, আর ওদের বান্ধবীরা খুব সুন্দরই দেখতে সবাই।
আমি আগে কালো ছিলাম বলে আমাকে সবাই রাগাতো, বলে তুই কেন কালো আছিস, তোকে ফর্সা হওয়ার উচিত ছিল। তাই আমি ফর্সা হওয়ার জন্য রাজি হয়ে গেছি।
আমি এটা ইউজ করেছি কারণ আমার অসুবিধা হতো, সবাই আমাকে এরকম বলতো যে কালো হয়ে গেছে। ছোটোবেলায় আমি অনেক কালো ছিলাম, আমি এই হোস্টেলে এসে মানে বুঝতে পারলাম, আস্তে আস্তে বাইরে যেতে শুরু করলাম এরকম। তখন আমাকে বলছে তুই এত কালো কেন, এরকম বলছে। আমি বলছি আমি কালো মানে জল ওয়াটার, ওই জলের জন্য আমি এত কালো। তো
করেছিলাম শুধু নাচের সময়, নাচের টাইমে একটু করি, আর কখনো করিনি, কিন্তু বান্ধবীদের দেখেছি করতে।
আমি ক্রিম মাখা শুরু করেছি 8-9 বছরে। আমার বাড়িতে ছিল ক্রিম, আমার দাদি মাখতে বলে আমি ক্রিমটা নিয়েছিলাম মাখার জন্য। আমি জানতাম না, কোনো কারোর দিয়ে আমি জিজ্ঞেসও করিনি, আমি ওর জন্য মেখে নিয়েছিলাম। আর তারপরে আর আমি কি বলে এটাকে,
আমি ক্রিম মাখতে শুরু করেছি 7 বছর থেকে। তাই আমি মাকে জিজ্ঞাসা করেছিলাম যে মা তুমি কেন এই ক্রিম মাখো। মা আমাকে বলে না, মা কিছু বলেনি। তারপরের দিন থেকে আমি ক্রিম মাখতে শুরু করতে করতে আমি যখন মাকে জিজ্ঞেস করি, মা আমাকে বলে না কি তুমি কেন মাখো ক্রিমটা, আমি বলি না কি তুমিও মাখছো বলে আমিও মাখি। তো মা বলে নাকি কোনো অসুবিধা নেই, আমি ক্রিম মাখলেও চলবে, আমার সঙ্গে ক্রিম মাখলেও কোনো অসুবিধা নেই। তো মা বলে নাকি আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে, যখন শেষ হবে আর তো পারবে না, যখন শেষ হয়ে গেলে আর মাখতে পারবে না। তাই আমার যখন ক্রিমটা শেষ হয়ে গেছে তখন আর মাখি না। মা বলে না কি ক্রিম শেষ হয়ে গেলে আর মাখতে পারবে না বলে তুমি এখন থেকে আর মাখবে না, ছোটোবেলা থেকে। তাই আমি ক্রিমটা মাখা করি না।
কারণ সবাই তখনই দেখে, এমনি সময় ভালো এমনি থাকি আমি, তখন মানে সবাই দেখে ইউজ করতে হয়, সবাই ইউজ করে, আমিও করি। আমার বাড়িতে অনেক অসুবিধা আছে, তাই আমার মা আমাকে মানে ক্রিম এসব কিনে দিতে পারে না। তাই মানে যারা মাখে ওইসব তাদের কাছ থেকে একটু অল্প মানে নিয়ে মাখি মাঝে মাঝে।
আমার তো একটু ইচ্ছা আছে ক্রিম ইউজ করার জন্য, যাতে সবাই আমার মুখের দিকে একটু তাকায়, যে বলবে যে মেয়েটা সুন্দর দেখতে।
আমার গায়ের রং যেটা, ওটা নিয়ে আমি সন্তুষ্ট।
What are your dreams and aspirations? What do you want to be when you grow up?
আমার খুব ইচ্ছা আছে আমি টিচার হব, আর দেখিয়ে দেবো আমিও কিছু পারি, কালো হলে কি হবে।
আমি বড় হয়ে, আমার স্বপ্ন আছে আমি বড় হয়ে সিআইডি হব। আমি বড় হয়ে পড়াশোনা করে লয়ার হতে চাই। আমার স্বপ্ন আছে বড় হয়ে আমি মিলিটারি যেন হতে পারি, সেই স্বপ্ন। আমি সেটার দিকেই ফোকাস দিতে চাই। আমি যদি না হতে পারি তাহলে শুটিংয়ে ঢুকে যাব।
But hopefully the wheels are turning. You know, they're in an age where they're very formidable, and I hope that through maybe this conversation that no one has maybe had with them, given how old they are, I hope that they can see that regardless of what they want to become, they can do that, and they don't need a skin lightening cream, or they can be dark, they can be fair, they can be any skin color and achieve their dreams. And I hope that in some way, shape, and form, they at least kind of start thinking that. Or maybe I've planted a seed, or maybe the conversation sparked something, but
it's literally, I feel like I'm looking at Nina at 14, Nina at 16 even. And so I'm just grateful to have had the conversation because no one had it with me. After speaking with the girls today, I felt sad for a few reasons, but I think the biggest thing that I realized is that when I first started speaking with them, they had said, oh, we love our skin, we love ourselves. And then as we spent the day together and dancing, and as we got to open up more, one of them actually said, I started using skin lightening creams because someone bullied me that I was too dark. And she was 7 years old. That wasn't necessarily as surprising to me, the fact that she was bullied for her skin or for her skin color, or the fact that she was using creams as early as 7. I think what was more surprising is that they do come from a background that's very underprivileged, and yet they still will find a means to use these products. They will still go out and purchase the Fair and Lovely. And again, these are children whose parents can't provide for them, but yet they're still learning this behavior of somehow my skin color can relate to success, or I'll have a better life, or beauty, whatever everyone had their own individual reason for. One of them off camera asked me, oh, you were Miss America, what skin lightening cream did you use to get your complexion? And obviously I did not use any, but the fact of the matter is that I don't see myself as any lighter skin than them. I found that we all kind of had a darker skin tone, what you would consider a darker skin tone. And it broke my heart for so many reasons that they really think that in order to be successful, to be beautiful, to become something, that beauty matters.
When I think about my relationship with beauty, I think it starts with my family. And it's very hard for me to say this because I know they're going to be watching this, but I think it starts with my mom and her sister, my aunt. I love my aunt. I grew up with her in India, and she is equivalent to my godmother. But she was very light-skinned. She was considered to be the beautiful sister. And I saw how people treated them. I noticed what people would say when they were together or not even together. And it was the comments from the older aunties and uncles that I picked up on. They would say about my aunt, oh my gosh, she's so fair, she's so beautiful. And then about my mom, they would say, well, she's beautiful too, but she's really dark. And so much of my upbringing was about my identity. And for me, trying to find my identity between being Indian and being from an Indian household and having very strong roots to Indian culture, and then also trying to assimilate with American culture was hard. It was a struggle. And I realized that assimilation is an ongoing, never-ending process, and it's always a continuous journey.
I just arrived in Bangladesh and I'm headed to the city of Dhaka, which is one of the most densely populated cities in the world. I'm actually going to be working with a fellow female journalist. Her name is Sadia, and she's also championing female empowerment in this country. I'm really curious to have a conversation with her and learn about how skin color affects the socioeconomic status of women here.
Here, dark skin is called dirty skin. That's very, very humiliating. In Bangladesh, when it comes to jobs, I think the jobs that require you to look better, that's where the discrimination comes in. Like, say, if you're going to be a receptionist, if you're going to be a secretary to someone very influential, they want the secretaries to be very fair, because fair is considered beautiful here. We were colonized for so long by the British, for 200 years. And before that, our rulers were Mughals, and they were also very fair. So for hundreds and hundreds of years, we see that the people in power are fair. And they also take fair wives. So all of their families are fair. And so the darker skinned people are usually the unfortunate people. And another thing is dowry. When you get married, people ask money from the girl's side. They ask for money from the girl. And if you're darker, then they ask for more money. Even though they were born into good families and they live in Dhaka, the capital, which is supposed to be a cosmopolitan city, right? Even then they face this, and people face a lot of discrimination in their in-laws' houses, and they often get divorced because of those discriminations and those bullying.
I have definitely seen the skin color bias with marriages and families as well. In fact, I remember Shadi.com actually used to have a filter where you could check a box of what you were looking for, if that was fair, dark, or dusky, and they had other names and terms too. But it wasn't until 2020 that that filter was even removed. And regardless if that filter was removed, the reality is that people are still having these conversations, and that still matters. And so I wanted to really speak with some recent graduates who I know are facing new chapters in their lives, especially with entering the workforce, thinking about dating and marriage, and how this is affecting them. My parents moved to Oklahoma when I was 4 and then to Michigan when I was 10. And so I was always asked questions about my family, my skin color, my religion, my race.
For me, that's affected almost every aspect of my life, from childhood to sometimes even now. And I really wanted to answer the question of why this conversation exists. Why is that so deeply embedded in our culture? And clearly I learned it from my environment. It's what I saw. And, I watched Bollywood and Tollywood movies when I was younger. And you see it, that's what it is. You just see light-skinned people.
People in India are very much influenced by Bollywood. The Bollywood actresses and actors have all been fairer, to the fairer side, and I think they have, taken this thing for granted that if somebody is fair, then he is much more prettier or much more beautiful.
When I was in second year of my graduation days, so that time I faced an interview for Wipro. During the interview, it was a video call, So the person was from, I think, Australia. So first of all, he commented of my religion, and then I told him that I'm a Christian. Not bothering that, he continued the conversation, and then I don't know what happened in between. He said, okay, stop, we can go to the next candidate. So when I talked to the HR, she was a lady. So then she said, never mind, we have shortlisted you, but we will give you a call after 1 month. So she gave me her mail ID also. I talked with her also after that. Then she never gave me a response. And finally, after 1.5 months, she mailed me that just because of your grooming, you're not getting selected. Grooming in India means you have to be physically attracted, you have to be well dressed, first of all, and you have to be like, your body language should speak that you are interested. So wherever you are posted, you cannot question on that, you cannot question on your posting, you just have to accept it, that thing is there. So grooming basically is complexion basis. You have to look much more prettier when you have a video call with your client.
In India, people used to judge by their facial appearance also.
It was in childhood, we were like in friends, they give you name, no, like Kalu and all.
Yes.
So Kalu means black. So it was very common in our community.
Yeah.
So still now it exists. Like if you see a black guy, Kalu, come here.
Yeah.
It's like that.
One who is inferior means there is some or the other one in the group whom they bully. And sometimes what happens is, unfortunately, he or she is black.
The parents looking for a bride or groom, they specifically see that section. I have seen people looking for that section. If they're fair, then only they will go and talk, otherwise they won't. And it's very sad, but I'm sad.
I am looking for, not for fair, but because here people say, if I go for fairer girl, then they will say black and white kind of thing. Yes, they will say. So it's better to, for me only and for my parents also, it's better to go with darker skin so that I feel secure. Everyone is not same, no. So what happens is, one who is close to you, he or she will accept you the way you are. But the thing is, if I am not known to anybody and I am walking with my wife, and she is fairer than me, very fairer, since I am dark, so it's obvious they will say that there are many proverbs like there is proverb like langur ke haath mein angur. That means langur means monkey.
I really can't thank you enough for being vulnerable. I know it's not easy to share all of these feelings and thoughts, but that's how change happens. And I hope that other people can see that too.
India has a lot of rich history, traditions, and rituals that have existed for generations. And while some of them are beautiful at times, There are others that aren't necessarily explained as to why we are doing them and have simply been accepted as the custom or tradition. And there can also be a cultural barrier of not wanting to question your elders. I remember women in my family wouldn't go to the temple when they were on their period, and when I would ask them why, they would say, "Oh, that's just the way it is." Or when I was working with Let Girls Learn and promoting education of the girl child, when I would ask people why they choose to educate their son over their daughter, they would say, "Oh, that's just the way it is." With colorism, it was the same response. Why is fair more beautiful? "Oh, that's just the way it is." And I'm really hopeful that this conversation has evolved in India, but to find out, I'm heading to New Delhi to speak with a younger generation of students.
Actually, in our country, it's like being dark, people criticize you. But being on social media, like I follow many celebrities and I see them like their real skin color is so fair, but they spend so much time in the sun having sun baths just to be tan like us. That's really great.
From my experience, I have a friend of mine, she works at a hotel. So like Sonam Kapoor, I don't know how, from her childhood photos, I see she's a brown, but she said when she came to the hotel, she was like white as Snow White. So I don't think like Bollywood plays a very role in spreading a message on color.
She's my best friend. The most bad thing that I face about her is that she is, whatever kind of a fight she's having, most of the time she's just spoken about her color. Because she's dark, of course. Whenever she's having a fight over any small stuff, people just call her as Kali, Chana and all. It's hurting because I'm her bestie. I can't hear that. The moment she was doing the ramp walk with you, it was lovely to see. But at the back, when I was sitting over there, the people were commenting and it was hurting because she is a part of me. She's my family. And I like her the way she is. When people comment, it's simply something that I would like to say that people judge others by the color, which we can say by quote, like people judge others, like we judge a book by its cover. It's true, it's very true. And it's really hard for me because I've not heard any such comment about like color and all because my color is fair. But it's hurting, as Bhaiya said, that when you hear things like Kali hai wo, she's dark, look at your friend, she's so fair, she's so tall, beautiful. I don't care if I'm beautiful and if I'm tall. I don't consider it on me, anything like that. But it's hurting because she is spoken of it most of the time, almost every day. I just retaliate to it if I get a chance. And if that person is sort of, I should not say that word, but savage, sort of, then I just keep my mouth shut and I just ignore it and I just go. But it's really hard. And if I can't say anything, I just regret. I feel like slapping that person.
Can I ask what people said today?
It's not about today. One girl who was sitting at my back, I heard her, you were going halfway, no? And she was there. Oh, look at her, Kali chal kar aa rahi hai. Oh my God, hatao na isko. Like,
what does that mean?
She's dark. That black girl, she's coming in front. Tell her to go off of the stage. And I just got so angry that I just said, oh God, I thank you. She has a lot of confidence. Mm-hmm. Not like the ones who are sitting at the back. Yeah. She was having a very bad fight when she was in 10th standard. Someone, I don't remember that person's name and I don't want to take that name also, but that person just called her, Kali, you have originated from coal. Something like that.
she felt so bad she wanted to commit suicide. She had locked herself in the toilet. I just said, "You are the only friend I have, please don't do this." It's so hurting. I just want people to stop judging others by their color. Because color and beauty isn't going to take you everywhere. It's what's inside.
This institution, Father Agnel Balban, the children that you met this evening, we started in the year 2000. Today we have 250 children, and they are also from various different backgrounds, social backgrounds, children of the leprosy patients, children of the sex workers, children whose parents are in jails, and orphans, semi-orphans. They all live together, and they as brothers and sisters.
मिस अमेरिका 2014 की।
We have in India these complexes of color, mainly color. The amount of money that is made out of this fake need of people to look fair is tremendous, and which we have to fight for.
When you compete for Miss America, you have to have a talent, you have to have an evening gown, a swimsuit, and an interview. And that is what your categories are based on to win the title. And so the first year I competed, I did a classical Bharatanatyam fusion dance, I would say. And I placed second runner-up to Miss New York. So in order to go to Miss America, you have to win one of the state titles, and I lived in New York. And I thought, okay, maybe it's my talent. And some people said, you're too Indian. Be more American. Miss America is just not ready for someone like you. As I continued to think about it, I had spoken with some of my mentors, and one of them said to me, at the end of the day, you have to lay your head on your pillow at night and know that you have represented yourself truly and authentically. I remember thinking in my mind, now here's the Super Bowl is what we call it. And I remember thinking, you know what? I want to be the first Indian American Miss America. Why not me? Because I grew up watching this competition, seeing blonde-haired, blue-eyed girls, and feeling like I could never be in that role because I didn't look a certain way. Because I wasn't maybe considered beautiful. And so when I went in, I knew that I was going to advocate for diversity because of all the instances that I had experienced growing up in my communities about our culture. I knew that I was going to perform this Bollywood dance, and I knew I was going to be me, and I was okay with that. And so, spoiler alert, I ended up winning Miss America, and that was a night that's very difficult to put into words because your life changes in an instant.
Nina Davaluri.
When I was in 6th grade, a young boy told the entire class and said, "Oh my goodness, Nina Davaluri has a bigger mustache than my dad." And this person, whose name I remember very well, this person can go on to become the next CEO, but I will forever remember him for that one comment. So know that your words have impact and they have influence. And you can choose to influence people in a positive or negative way.
Hi, I am Devanshi, and I just wanted to thank you so much because that is what we all needed. That is something I really appreciate because I see in my school only students don't respect girls who are dark and who are fat for anything. That beauty is not about physical appearance, it's from within. So thank you so much to you for getting this topic up.
Thank you for standing up.
I was so impressed with these students, and I asked if some of them would join me to do a small roundtable in hopes that we could have deeper conversations and really understand the issues that they're facing as middle schoolers in India.
Bollywood has a major role. Like the actors, the fans of the actors and the people are really attached to the actors. They literally worship them. So I think the actors have a responsibility to send positive messages about colors, and like people should be aware they should not discriminate people on the basis of their color, and that's all that they can do to spread positivity in the society.
The older generation, like, they are the people who are like more into colors, like older than us, you know, like our parents or their parents. It's because like me and my friend, like one of my friend is Anglo-Indian, so she's very fair, okay? So we were walking together and then one teacher comes up and says, oh my god, this is a combination of black and white.
Personally, I've never experienced such a situation because my family's always kept me sheltered, and they've given me opinions of all sides altogether. Like, it's not okay to discriminate against any culture or appearance or look, but it is okay to be appealed to one. Like, you don't have to like everyone, but it's not okay to like discriminate someone. Like, no, you're not good. Like, you can say that, yeah, I prefer you, but it doesn't mean that the others are bad. So I think it's okay to be like to state your opinion, but not to be opinionated. That's important.
Like me and my friends were talking about some things, and then this guy comes up to our table and he just says, do black women have periods? Like, yeah, he said that. Okay.
And what's your background?
I'm half African,
half Indian.
Like me and my friends are all like dark skinned, okay? So one of my friends, she is also half American. She said that how can you say this kind of stuff? We're gonna complain to our teacher and stuff like that. And he said, why are you even getting upset? You're not even dark skinned. Like, you're not even black. Since I'm black, like wherever I go, some person will always come up to me and say, can you give me the N-word pass?
What do you say to that?
Why should I give you that?
Yes.
Like wherever I go, there will be someone who will look at me and shout that N-word.
Here in India. And what do you do when that happens?
I don't do anything. Well, like, what should I do? Before, I used to hit people when they said it, but then my mother said that don't hit people when they say this kind of stuff. Just don't mind it.
Mm-hmm. But can you mind it? How does it make you feel when you hear it? You just ignore it. Have you ever told your friends how it makes you feel or why it's hurtful?
Yeah.
And have they ever said anything?
Yes, like whenever someone says they are the ones now who go and hit them.
I remember my grandmother used to say that, oh my god, like such a nice dress, if you were fairer a little bit, it would look more good on you. Then I used to like, Granny, what are you, like, Nani, what are you saying? Grandmother one day, she said that, I was a little bit like, she had a dress, okay, look, I've knitted a sweater for you, you should wear it. So I was happy. So when I wore it, she said, it's looking good, but then if your cousin and if I would have been a little bit fairer, then it would look more appropriate and more like, I would look very beautiful in it. So I was very disappointed by the remark, and then I just like, okay, it's okay, it's all right.
So you didn't say anything?
Yes.
My family is not very racist, though they don't discriminate people on the basis of their color. But I've seen it in many states of India that the people who are like in marriages and in functions, the people mainly focus on the person who is white or black. And in India, in a country like India, which is very diverse, I think this shouldn't be there. And I think social media has helped a lot, though I don't use social media, but I've seen my friends talking about it, that if a person like kind of discriminates some other person on the basis of color, there are thousands of people who answer back. So it's kind of helping, and the world is changing, and according to me, this tradition of color will soon be forgotten, and I don't think it will be present in the next generations.
To have a deeper understanding, I wanted to gain a perspective from an individual and family that has been one of the most profound influences in modern Indian history. I met with the Gandhi family, arguably one of the most revered figures and family who has the highest perspective of what privilege looks like in Indian society. I first spoke with Vidur. He is my age and is Gandhi's great-great-grandson.
I feel it boils down to the culture that we're in. It's so deep in the roots with the caste system. The higher you are in a caste, the less likely you're going to be working outside, the fairer you're going to be. The lower you are in a caste in India, the more likely you're going to be working outside, the darker you're going to be. Your chances of upward mobility are much lower than someone who's in an upper caste. When I was 6 years old, I remember my grandmother from my father's side. She used to take kind of a paste, and I don't remember the name, and she used to rub it on my body to try and get my skin to get fairer, but also remove kind of the dirt that she used to say, which was the darkness of the skin in her terms. And she would say to me as a boy, if I use this often enough in the future, when you're 18, 19, above, you will find that you are fairer and your opportunities for marriage will become that much stronger. And I feel the parents always push people for fairer individuals. If you marry this person, or if you get fair, you'll get a better job, or you'll find a beautiful wife. And a lot of these Fair and Lovely ads really push that point hard, very hard.
But in some ways it's true.
We are on our way to visit Tara Gandhi, who is Gandhi's granddaughter. And I can't help but keep thinking as we're winding down our time in India, every place that we've visited or group that we've spoken with, rich, poor, ambitious, humble, every single one of them has felt somehow discriminated or affected by this deeply seated, embedded thought that India believes. The lighter skinned you are, the more opportunities you have, the more beautiful you are, and the more successful you'll be. I have to ask, is this a reality we simply have to accept? Or is there an opportunity to change society's mindset?
I like dark skin. And I find it so beautiful. So I personally don't understand why people think like that. And then, what is the color of the skin to do with the beauty? Actually, it is the inner beauty that reflects. One can be very beautiful, black or white or brown. But if one is very violent, that person doesn't seem beautiful anymore. As people are evolving better, maybe they will understand. And this is the meaning of development. Development is not creating new buildings and super highways. It is also the evolution of the human mind. Unless this evolves, the mind evolves and the heart evolves, the soul is there. Gandhi was such a refined person. And I said, if you touch an inanimate object, as though you are touching the soul in it, you have great sense of beauty and aesthetics. In here, the way he tied his little dhoti, it was very hard for Attenborough to make the Gandhi actor tie the dhoti like that. It was done with so much of aesthetics and beauty. Whatever Gandhi did was refinement. And refinement, by refinement I don't mean, like refined sugar, refined things. No, by refinement I mean going back to the original with truth, without destroying the originality, the truth behind the thing. He was so clean. He was a very thin person. He was a spiritual person, and that's why there was that, what shall I say, an aura around him. I'm sure he saw beauty, recognized beauty everywhere. I think there should be it should be a kind of a moment of introspection, a moment of reflection, like we have saved the electricity for half an hour. We should have the light of our conscience, starting from one country and going around the globe.
Colorism is only one out of the hundreds of beauty standards that exist. So why do we as a society keep perpetuating these detrimental ideologies? How do we begin to dismantle beauty standards when in the real world, beauty is power? What we know for sure is that these beauty standards can't survive if the collective culture rejects them, and we are the collective culture. Institutions can't profit from these unrealistic standards from people who aren't buying into it.